Oh, this is a video that notes. I put a link to the video of Judge Napolitano with a Newsmax, a clip of a video called Newsmax, and Judge Napolitano speaking about a gag order with Trump, with treatments of Trump legal cases through administrations by accident. Not wanting to. I recorded, I noticed hyper evidentially recorded. I'm using the word hyper evidentially because originally and still the interbranch has been collusion slash S with a breaching method, with a predicate acts, with facts method, with color, no, with the colors black slash white. We have black pupils, whites of eyes. That was left out with this. The breaching methods application by those laws was left out with this. And there are uses of that. And where it is not criminal foreign influence, the branch of government still have relative delusions. So they have wire crime action methods, and they have sense and sensibilities. For example, the topic of what people say, they're using the word attack. They can't afford to discern what is actually recorded. They have been replacing and fabricating audio and video transcripts through administrations with the FBI and other agencies on and off Connecticut interbranch locations. They forge and switch names into branch. These are names on off the Ninth Circuit Court, right next to the World Trade Center attack, right with the names involved with the World Trade Center and the spots next to it too, and the foreign bodies. They posted documents from inside the Ninth Circuit. That was proven after the World Trade Center attack. Whole bunch of people tied to a 2006 district court case have roles with names on all sides in criminal and in civil cases, and with the court's names and names of the hallway. They're victims. The victims in the cases, victims of courts appointed advocates. At the same time, with the lawyers in the news planting evidences at crime scenes roles. Increasingly, with being and having been used remotely, all interbranch locations are showing needs to pretend their integrity where they've never been integrity. See, this breaching method knew such would be done before our founders were born. It knew that and how the three branches of government, the value of them are manifest. So this is not to discredit them. They make the natures of debate. They can't go back and afford proper critical discernment of it. /S. And the courts have roles with on off the state of Connecticut judicial branch offices and on off the state of Connecticut corrections offices, roles with interstates and intercountries, also grouped being and having been used remotely originally and still roles with a predicate acts with fax delivery system method and or the use of the criminal insidiousness nature delivery system method and that being uses of criminal insidiousness natures of positive treatments and or negative treatments with syntax, with where and how we are quality as fact treatment nature. So Connecticut District Court, Connecticut, Hartford Courts, and Connecticut District Court and New Britain Superior Court, and their social media pages, and their narratives and backgrounds, and on the records. Sickly, distinctly, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrought simultaneously. And that's also where and how they're preventing people from calmness unless it's a psychopath, entertaining psychopaths. And they're preventing aggression where it is needed. So we've only heard criminal insidiousness natures of it's not the aggression itself that's negative. See, one way nature itself will only stay positive. All exception nature that appears to be in demonstration of other is in demonstration of the same thing with a special difference, including our own. Force from here leads to IDs. This is more probable too and is more practical as per the relativity of definitions and uses of still themselves recorded criminally foreign influenced interpretations of history that are still affecting this in the reception of our republic, the republic for which we stand, tactically, criminally re-engineered before it was, our founders left us to demonstrate which was entrenched with torture, extortion, and fact treatment nature slavery of everyone, including of themselves, sickly distinctly from everyone. and they had to counter extort the other founders. And that's also as the Native Americans did, and that's also with them semi as our founders too. That's part of the only reason our founders were able to to counter extort at 13 positions within more than 13 colonies that were the possessions of foreign bodies using them remotely, and those bodies themselves were being used remotely by the breaching method that screens self-value uses of the names of the human species bodies volume/s science, tactical ulterior from its science, and pretending other. As this preaching method knew that the phenomenon of latter semi-ancient nations and of now modern countries would be. In other words, they have roles with behavior racketeering. As if we're going to bring a quality of fact-keeping nature that the courts are preventing, they need to prevent this because they have roles with crime scenes, uses of them. They have child offenders, sexual, medical at the same time with the interbranch women too. Their differences, and they have women, male and they have female, black, white women involved with KKK themed, Confederate flag themed, and black themed military police, forging, switching names, roles of Wethersfield Police with state police, FBI, other agencies, their family members, their intimate ties. So Hartford courts and the Britain Superior Courts have roles with West Hartford locations and with fire departments intercities. Eric Burgess made confessions to me like this, and he requested me for help. Then he started making all different confessions because he didn't think I didn't help the way he wanted to. In other words, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and some courts, judges and prosecutors, and their intimate ties. Times roles with overt criminal enterprises and private ones. Saudis, they forced collusions with that and with people intercities. As people from Hartford and New Britain involved next to campuses, involved with drugs and medicines, crimes with doctors, supposed to be against those things. They're putting fake uses of drugs, fake conversations, whole fake transcripts and evidences as collusions into medical databases. Like Hartford Hospital has an Institute of Living founded on their campus in 1822. Note that medical campuses are referred to as campuses. So in other words, they and fire campuses. So you have all ages and natures of campuses, and the difference between that and other natures of database relationships, such as one with all kinds of other natures of private investigations, investigators. The difference between how those private investigators are retired and standing into branch, etc. Military, the military has roles with Oliveri family. I never tried to contact. They sought me out. Record, confess, demonstrate. In other words, and not they're putting fake ties to me, fake location, fake sequence relationships. These are people off the state judicial branch offices with conjunctions to it too. Involved also with Wethersfield Pizza, with wire crimes and putting fake ties to people and put fake things in databases at campuses, intercities through time too. They exploit it through time too. So they have roles with a whole bunch of murders, like a girl, and even if they made any of this up, and untimely deaths that were timed collusions, the murder of Greg Kyler, that girl who was dragged to her death from next to Hartford Hospital. All these people have ties to a Mark Violet and to people with the military with him on off Hartford Hospital too, and fabricating conversations between little kids and their families and themselves. And with themselves and others. When everyone's not looking, the same people through time are putting fake transcripts with the FBI, other agencies, foreign and domestic. Many countries are on off Central Connecticut State University and on off Trinity College that the FBI has a whole bunch of roles with names can record, confess, demonstrate, confirm. They're also on off the news locations. And off the family members of the journalists involved criminally foreign influence with names like Perone. There's a Perone family who is involved with news media on and off the campuses with predicate acts, identity theft, fraud, slanders, fabricating evidences, replacing what's actually recorded, including on campuses filmed 24/7. So the courts have rules and defenses of their identity and of the quality of fact-sheet nature as criminal insidiousness nature / hypercriminal insidiousness nature. I am not even a lawyer. Have them fix the records, get on paper. They prevent paper, and they while they're making fake exceptions to pretend other with criminally foreign influence as roles, therefore way worse with crime scenes originally and still. When did our founders tell us to leave out how the breaching method employed the interbranch and or the difference between them and the overt criminal enterprises and private ones we know were only capable of being manifest? Boxing. Make sure you follow mandated law for them, because if you ask Judge Napolitano, they'll lie about what they think is clear or not. Forget about it, and that's one of the better judges. And they value that array too. They value that difference because where and how that's, in other words, they entertained standards and precedents since they were the first little kids told to speak other than our founders communicate about. Slavery is about a predicate acts with facts delivery system method against everyone sickly distinctly, so they can measure and maintain that left out with logic. And with increasing needs to counter that as fact, or to overcome that rather, as fact-sheet nature, to get through it. The science is the republic is abridged, and nature will demonstrate. This republic was revealed by humanity working together before the sciences became criminally foreign influence. This is more probable and is more demonstrable. We'll examine the nature of how people try to use their knowledge of good and evil. There are proofs that people trying to judge people by what they post online is dishonest and tactically delusions WRought too. That's also how the police confess things, because then they pretend their passions and emotions. Now, you can't record the police too, so there are ways, because then they open their mouths. I found out they've been putting every campus I went to since I was the youngest kid. They made connections between those kids who have roles planting predicate acts with the agencies and judges and their family members, prosecutors and their family members, timed collusion with overt collusion /S with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, people off the World Trade Center. The World Trade Center has roles with natures of trade originally and still that can't be entertained. And then to afford short words of nature, attention proper, it's sensed through our own. A breaching method knew it would be. So this is how they have wire crime action methods, Wethersfield police switching and forging names. As predicate acts methods they have with mail too, and with falsified police reports, fabricating audio and video, fake conversations with their officers through time. A police chief, Cintron, and 1 years ago, like a NAP, and 1 or more years ago, a NAP is one of the names of the police chiefs and police, and ones with the name Dylan, involved with predicate acts on my street. And now with Judge Napolitano, because I can't get a response. I don't have a phone, and they use wire crime action methods anyway. These are the same people behind gag orders and speaking in news. Well, this is what this subject is about, leaving out details. They're leaving out the quality of fact-sheet nature the court's forced not to be. In one of Judging Freedom's, Judge Napolitano's YouTube channel, one of his videos, I can't believe I heard it. He said he had 400 arraignments in one day in a New Jersey court. See, if you can't see, in other words, we can't, they can't even speak about New Jersey, what really caused that. You guys can't speak about American history, honestly. You have American history, Wethersfield, Connecticut / Hartford, Connecticut. This is the last of the 13 places, 13 counter positions that George Washington and that James Madison and our real founders, which is also Native Americans, how they had to counter extort each other too. No, before our founders were even born, because they're measuring and maintaining through other roles with other things you can entertain. Who's entertaining? They're tactically criminally foreign influence. uses of the syntax nature of everyone around everyone, the names of everyone, because it's using identities, value/value progression, tactically ulterior. So they have the nature of debate with people, criminally foreign influence, sickly distinctly from the presidential debates. They have the value of voting by the branches of government individually grouped and together, predicate acts methods. They have grouped predicate acts methods too. And this is timed collusion with overt criminal enterprises, private ones. So these are school resource officers too. Their timing of their subject treatments with the news. See how they keep saying about equal rights, and then they bring sexual groups into it because of the intelligence community's roles with this, and the foreign used to measure and maintain. You don't do equal and things like that. They're forcing the nature debate, and they have the fake sides. They have the fake sides. They have people pretending to be against things who are for those things, or in other words, they're told to lie. They're not legitimately hiding their roles with all these other countries on and off the campuses. So the FBI and some courts and their family members affected confessions and demonstrations to me their roles being influenced to fabricate evidences on and off campuses like Central Connecticut State University, Trinity College, leading up to the World Trade Center attack in that context and since. I recorded that because they asked me for help for that. Before the World Trade Center attack, I didn't know it was going to be the same ones involved with it. These are the same courts and prosecutors and their family members and the people from Connecticut through time who've been roles with the names timed, putting fake things in database at every campus I went to. They hid things. They should say sorry to Judge Napolitano with the Wethersfield police who hid what I recorded in high school. And then there's a Judge Smith too, should fear God and say sorry to Judge Napolitano with this Judge Killian too. He's one of the ones recorded involved with child offenders and with fabricating audio or video transcripts and pretending not to realize as wire crime rules on Facebook with child sex offenders, on the Facebook page of a principal child offender who was involved with other natures of organized crime with the kids in elderly homes, with his and there were other uses of his kids abused to abuse others and other kids of the interbranch and the overt criminal enterprises. It's recorded with the private ones too. The adults and the kids need to keep motivations, blame the other things, others themselves, with a quality of fact treatment nature, interbranch and or at locations and or private is kept criminally foreign influence. It is kept in criminal insidiousness nature. It is kept qualities that can't defend themselves and afford short words to protract, because there are three natures of short words. For example, in other words, they won't let us have unaccomplished short words. And then while they're using the right to lie where they don't have it increasingly at interbranch locations, they need to hide that at other locations. So Wethersfield police have roles with state police, CIA, and military police forms, and with FBI, and their co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, former standing chairperson on the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. So they have the little they taught them to show them how to hide uses of their roles, self-value with criminal insidiousness, natures of calmness and or of aggression relative to where and to how replaced were things that nature was showing us to blame on a breaching method when we were young kids. Nature was showing us the means to do this, to discern the breaching method by discerning how it hurt Native Americans sickly distinctly, and that was sustained. Then the little rap trap that we know as American history. See, they're covering that over. Oh, glorify it. In other words, they're blaming other things other than themselves, the breaching method, and while they're leaving it out and pretending because the kids can't. You have delusions, WRought, identities of experts, logic, and the nature of debate on this. Because this is the way that doesn't hurt anyone. It doesn't blame anyone but the breaching method. The interpreters of American history are needing to blame other things other than themselves, also per how the scientists find themselves abridged as a separate science. incapable of properly using the other scientists' names, so they rely on legal experts that speak for the law. Their delusions wrought, criminally foreign influence too. It's nothing personal. They pretend it's personal. Oh, then they try to go, oh, it's nothing personal. They fix the fake things in the databases. Get them on paper. Follow mandated law for them. For Connecticut interbranch. Let's go. On off the state judicial branch offices, on off the state corrections offices, and the military involved. Let's go. Mobile gas stations sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm this too. Both of them in Rocky Hill and Wethersfield. Keep delaying. Make sure they get on paper fast. I want a response for the principal child abuser's confessions and the ones that are tied to the police chief Cintron and his daughter's involvements with that. Jessica Cintron, they said her name is. And there's a Mazzucato family involved with this also. It has something to do with the intelligence community all along Route 175 that spreads rumors and pretends to know people where we can't counter that without countering the foreign and the agencies involved. Because they're, in other words, this is a game they play. They make fights between people, pretended fights between people, even with little tricks. So the person would say that, and they're making fake sides so they can measure and maintain everyone left out. So no, a Cololo family and an O'Brien family has something to do with wire crimes with Hartford Police, Wethersfield Police, Newington Police, Rocky Hill Police, at the same time with other police forms and foreign and domestic military, and their roles with identity thefts and frauds since they were kids. And sometimes it's them that's criminally foreign influence. Sometimes it's the intelligence community that has been involved with them since they were kids. And the difference of that is also used by the breaching method. So follow mandated law because there are more people then and now on and off the campuses connected. And there are more people with violence in the area involved. I could get the names of them tied to these doctors and their patients who are involved with the same houses, still involved with violence and threats. And you guys are preventing a common means to do it by forging and switching names roles with the police forms and with the courts. So get on there. I get on paper for the Fox News has roles with this. Then they pretend we're attacking them. The judges and prosecutors already recorded themselves using words like attack and coaching the news to do it. Sometimes the news coach them, but they're all used remotely. They're shown how to do that by the breaching method. They knew they were going to have to pretend that they could speak for the law's nature or identity. Follow mandated law. Let's go. Have them too. They attach me to fake behavior. I'll show you how. That's why I do this too. When I get aggressive or when I'm calm, they can't be honest. So they have to keep getting away with lock people up. They still have roles with the courts and prisons. Sandy Hook prisons have roles with Alex Jones' website and with digital police associated with it, and with the court's counter to Alex Jones. Also with the victims of Sandy Hook and of Sandy Hook Promise involved with FBI further with child sex offenders and upskirt natures on Twitter and on off the principal child abuser's campus and his roles with shopping centers in Wethersfield and Rocky Hill and hotels and things like that have something to do with Mike Roberts interstates and Mike Roberts who has roles with some child defenders with Wethersfield, Rocky Hill locations. One of them is named Daryl Chandler. I don't know. There's a woman in his family with the intelligence community. I don't know the Daryl Chandler. He made a fake exception to pretend other, and I didn't respond to it. He had a clipboard too. He has roles with Koreans and with people with leaders of the kids that have roles with their family members involved with that, and with and a whole bunch of other countries. Nothing against Koreans. This is also the breaching method did this, so we have to tell on them by using the names of people and of groups and where and how they have fake sensibilities with that. They have fake accounts pretending to be me with Facebook, who are a whole bunch of people tied to the Facebook page of Wethersfield Police. A whole bunch of people in the military recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed involved with child abuse, identity thefts, and frauds with a Schumack family and other businesses and locations roles and homes roles next to where the Wethersfield police are now and where they used to be. And they also use the crime method of pretending people are saying bad things about the police and preventing the predicate acts from being demonstrated. Make sure you stay on the predicate acts I noted. Get them the one name and sequence into branch on paper. Fix the fake news conversations with me. WFSB attaches kids and their families to fake locations with child offenders, including sexual, medical, and people on off the state judicial branch offices, and with Whiting Forensics and with Sandy Hook campuses and state police forms, other police forms with Wethersfield police all along Route 3. They have a kid involved reportedly beat up. True or not, there are more people involved with that in Middletown locations, for example, and names. And all along Route 3 has roles with identity thefts, frauds, and people on off the town lines, like with the name Cololo involved with wire crimes and Wethersfield police with this. And with Whiting Forensics, a Bob Chase recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. There's a Phil Cololo involved with this, and that was also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed that he's one of the ones involved with, drugs and poisons and identity thefts, other natures of predicate acts on off my street, planting evidences with police forms on all sides of my houses, as people involved with their family members, with overt criminal enterprises and with private ones, timed collusions with names at corners of buildings and of streets, with identity thefts and frauds, has something to do with their roles with one of the things they have that tie them together. Also, the murder of Greg Kyler, confessions regarding that. It also involves the probation officer of Mike Oliver. These are boxers. These are judges and prosecutors that are involved with people with the prisons. People involved with the prisons associated with Claybay, who was an Olympic boxer. People with the prisons have been sticking fake things in databases. A whole bunch of people tied to Johnny Duke involved with people that work at the prisons who have crimes with their patients and criminals before they get caught, and against innocent people. They're planting and their tactical delusions wrought. That has something to do with their roles. They recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. The courts and with Johnny Duke were involved with them on Covington Street in New Britain and other spots in New Britain, and next to Central Connecticut State University, with names next to Trinity College. But this is also where they're attaching Johnny Duke to fake conversations, and they're having people tell him lies, and he repeats them. This is how the intelligence community is being and have been used remotely. It's also relative to the uses all along, like the spots next to Fox Connecticut News, all along Main Street and Hartford, has something to do with their roles all along Route 3 in Wethersfield, which is one of the conjunctions. In conjunction to that, which one of the conjunctions to Route 3 is the state judicial branch offices. And that has something to do with wire crimes that Wethersfield police have with Steve, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, with a Steven Stockwell and Wethersfield Pizza, and with a Maria Fazzino. I don't know if it's a Maria Stockwell. And they're lying about their motivations. They sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm this. They're also involved with sequence shifts, identity thefts and frauds, and evidences crimes with Jonathan Mayano. Also involved with child offenders here further, with school resource officers, and the names of my area involved with wire crimes with them, sequence shifts with them, federal evidences crime, falsified police reports. These are the ones where prosecutors and judges personally criminally involved with them. Whole bunch of police departments' names. Hey! Get them on paper now. Let's go. Well, I should beg you. Get it. Fix the World Trade Center attack predicate acts too. Say sorry, WFSB. Fake conversations with me with the World Trade Center. Get those military police next to you and the names next to you on paper too. Let's go. I'll make it worse. And there's recorded proofs. And even it might have been made up, but the reports of the police chief Simtron from Wethersfield shooting someone near the corner of Elm Street and Rocky Hill. He has, through time, roles with predicate acts with names on off foreign and domestic on off Elm Streets and Rocky Hill and Wethersfield, as the same names roles on with campuses used criminally for and influenced by them. They're putting fake things in the databases. Get them on paper now. Let's go. Let's go. Fix the fake news.